Amateur Girl and Fanboy present the Big Bad Glass Movie Review.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. This week we're going to be reviewing Mission Impossible 7. And I am Amateur Girl somewhere near Hollywood.
Way down there in Hollywood. And this is Fanboy from Chiang Mai, Thailand. Like you said, we're going to be talking about Mission Impossible 7, Dead Reckoning, Part 1. Which is quite a lengthy title, right? Runs at about 2 hours and 43 minutes, but it zooms by, at least for me. I watched it on Tuesday and on the IMAX. Big crowd, much bigger than Indiana Jones crowd, I'm afraid to say, here in Thailand at the IMAX. But I have not talked to Amateur Girl about this movie at all. So we're going to come into it just with fresh perspectives. I will give my opinion of the movie after she talks about it.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I will keep it short and sweet. As a little girl, I went to the movies. We all go through things in life. I go to the movies, said it over and over and again for escapism. And this was that. It was escapism. Thank God for Tom Cruise. He did that for me. Thank you, Tom Cruise. So I was able to go and forget about my problems and genuinely enjoy a fantastic film. And I feel like it was predicting a little bit of the future with the AI, artificial intelligence, like what's going to be happening in the world in 10, 20 years. I mean, this is a current film set in, I would say 2023, but it really got you thinking too about the future of artificial intelligence. And then also, as an Amateur Girl, why? So my question to Fanboy is, why did I love this film so much? Why did I finally feel like the movies are back? And thank God to Tom Cruise. Tell me why.
Well, Tom Cruise is just, he just has to smile and everybody likes him. He's just got that charisma. So he's got that going for him. But he is built on that to an amazing extent to become probably the number one movie star in the world right now, And he's been always a big star, but now he is reigning, the reigning king, in my opinion. Now, why did you like it? I was laughing because it's like you get 30 minutes of action and then you might get 5 to 10 minutes of exposition. And then let's get right back to the action. Forget all this exposition, right? So, the exposition meaning, for those who don't know what that means, it means that they tell you what the story's about. And they give you the information that, let's go find the key. So they have 30 minutes of running around and then 10 minutes talking about this damn key. Then another 30 minutes of running around. Exactly. So, but that being said, the story was a little bit on the, I'll go right to my big glass review. I'm going to be like the critics are giving it 98%. I think it's down to 97%. But for me, I take off from the 100%. Just because the story is a little bit on the slim side, right? But it doesn't matter. It was still a fun ride. At 2 hours and 43 minutes, and it kept you going the whole time. Wow, amazing, right?
Yes.
3 guys responsible for this, besides Tom Cruise, of course, are the director, Christopher McQuarrie, who wrote the original screenplay for The Usual Suspects and won the Academy Award for it. And then he's did some other things before he got I'm not sure how he got tied in with Tom Cruise.
Get it together, Fanboy.
Oh yeah, Valkyrie. So he came in to write Valkyrie with and produce it and work on that team of the Valkyrie movie. And I think that's how he got hooked up with Tom Cruise. And then he worked on the Jack Reacher movies. He worked on all the Mission Impossible, starting with Rogue Nation as the actual director. So he's part of the team. The other person that's really important in this, besides Christopher McQuarrie, is Wade Eastwood, who is not any relationship to Clint Eastwood. South African, probably one of the number one stuntmen in the world. He's the one who's been putting all these great action scenes together. You know, he started with Jack Reacher, and he's been doing the Mission Impossibles along with Christopher McQuarrie. So basically, the three guys: Tom Cruise, Christopher McQuarrie is the director, and Wade Eastwood is the action part of it, the action director, are the guys responsible for this movie. They built that entire train just for that scene. They didn't have any trains to blow up, so they said they had to build their own train. And because Tom Cruise is such a freaking juggernaut of an action hero now, and they have I guess an unlimited amount of money to spend, but every penny of it seems to be on the screen, right? No CGI for this guy. Forget this crap, right? We're talking, hanging upside down. It reminds me of that scene at the end. I don't want to give out too much information, spoiler alerts, but that scene at the end with the train, inside the train, remind me a little bit of Fred Astaire dancing on the ceiling and stuff. But I mean, that was an incredible scene, right?
Yeah.
And then they fought on top of the train for real. S.A. Morales,
Wow.
who plays the bad guy, who plays Gabriel, he said he's never done anything like that before. It was pretty scary, being on the train and doing all that and have to coordinate all that action, right? Now, I did see it there was one cutaway shot that was very quick. I said, oh, that looks a little bit like a stunt man. That was Tom Cruise. So I'm sure they use stunt men back and forth, right? It's just too darn dangerous, right? So they have the actors in there all the time. But in general, they did do a lot of their own stuff. And for sure, Cruise did much of his own stunts. He's like Steve McQueen was the same way. He liked to do his own stunts and everything. So, very dangerous, but, it makes the movie much better. Another element I see in this that harkens back to probably one of the original, I don't know if it is the original spy novel, but it's called The 39 Steps. And Hitchcock did a movie in the 30s. It was a classic. It's still a great movie. I went back and watched parts of it recently after this movie, and I still amazed at how good that movie is. And basically, in the movie, not the book, and they've remade this movie many times, the story many times, all the way up to like 2008. I think BBC did a version that was kind of based on the novel, but it's a similar story. It's about a guy who's got all the information in his brain. Of course, they don't find this out for a long time through the movie. So it's a whole big chase scene movie, and they get themselves handcuffed together. The two lovers are handcuffed together, and they're running through the Scottish countryside trying to get away from the shadowy organization. So it's the same story. So it's obviously influenced by the 39 Steps. The AI just takes the place of the in the original book. It's like a little book that's got the key inside the book itself, right? And then in the Hitchcock versions, the key is inside the guy's brain, and he's like this Mr. Memory type of guy that stands on stage and tells everybody all this information. You ask him a question, he knows everything, right? Mr. Memory. And so, and I related that to that's the AI. John Buchan, might as well give him credit. John Buchan was the writer of the 39 Steps. He wrote it in 1914, right before the World War I. And he was a diplomat, English diplomat, but he's Scottish, but English diplomat. Ended up in Canada most of his life as a diplomat in Canada. And but he was also involved in military intelligence too during World War I. So he had a background. But he wrote this 39 Steps before the war started. And then it's been a source of inspiration for filmmakers ever since. I mean, it's literally, I'm sure even Ian Fleming had a passing relationship with this book before he even wrote the James Bond book, right? He wrote a couple sequels using the same character, who is also a military intelligence guy who gets sucked into these plots, that are also by the shadowy organizations. It's always these shadowy organizations now. But again, the AI is a scary thing. It's and it's funny that they've got into it's gotten into the plots of big movies so quickly, right?
I know. I was thinking that.
We were just hit with the AI, like in the last 6 months?
I know. That's why I was like, what?
And so
that's brilliant.
This movie should have been released last year. It's been sitting on, because of COVID, it's been sitting on the shelf for a year. Unfortunately, we have to wait until June to see part 2. I hate when they do that. I was hoping that they'd bring it out in Christmas, right? Not make us wait all that time. By that time,
Yeah.
you've forgotten about it. You know, you have to do the whole thing again.
Yeah.
So anyway, but again, you know, it's one of those movies you can go watch again and again. I mean, I'm a Mission Impossible fan. I have said it over and over. I now prefer Mission Impossible to James Bond. And I love James Bond, but I prefer Mission Impossible. And I'll go see James Bond and drop a hat. But I have now prefer Mission Impossible as far as just a good, rousing spy action film. Mission Impossible is it, boy. And he delivered. Did he make it a little bit too long? Some critics, you know, but the few 2 or 3 critics that didn't like it, they complained about the length. That was it. Nothing else. You know, the action scenes are impeccable. It's got some great edge of the seat plot twist. You know, we won't destroy the viewers thing by talking about that. So other than that, anything else to talk? I think I covered everything. I don't know. Now, what is this organization? Where's the odd thing for me? What kind of shadowy organization is in Los Angeles? I mean, I don't know why we assume it's LA. So I think I read that somewhere. I mean, S.A. Morales, he just reeks of Los Angeles for some reason. That actor, he just says, "I'm from LA, man," you know, and he goes way back. I mean, S.A. Morales, it's so great to see him in this big part because he has been, you know, I've liked him since the 80s. It's how long he's been around, since he was a young guy, you know, probably about the same age as Tom Cruise. And, but the shadow organization I'm talking about sounds a lot like Scientology, which is so strange. It's like, it's so funny that Tom Cruise would do this you know, and then people could, you know, connect those dots, those parallels, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in part 2. And we're going to learn more about the shadow organization. Of course, it's not going to be Scientology or anything like that, but you know, Tom Cruise is famous for being a Scientologist, right? And so it's kind of funny. I don't know if they've had falling outs. I'm sure they have, you know, because Cruise is very powerful and he can do pretty much whatever he wants. But other than that, it was, you know, this is like the best movie, a popcorn movie, let's put it that way. The best popcorn movie of the year up until now.
Unfortunately, I do have something to add, and that is that my 17-year-old identical twin boys did not like it. They were bored, and they were scrolling on their phones throughout part of the film.
Yeah, that's always irritating. My daughter does that too. I haven't been to a movie with my daughter in a few years, but she used to do that also. It used to irritate the heck out of me. We go see
they don't normally do that.
Really? They don't really do that. So what was the last movie you went with them to see that they did not do that?
Well, they've never done it. They only
well, that's
did
why I'm asking the last movie that you saw with them.
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. No, actually Indiana Jones. We saw Indiana Jones.
Oh, and they loved that, huh?
Yeah, they did. They liked it.
Yeah, John liked it too. My son liked it too. He says, "It wasn't as bad as you said, Dad." Because he watched the video, right? I go, "Yeah, it was." But you know, that's everybody's entitled to their opinion, right? So that's so funny.
Yeah.
So that because that age group is important because a lot of these guys on Indiana Jones were saying that a lot of the kids didn't like it because they just couldn't relate with it anymore. And that's funny.
Yeah.
You know,
they liked it. I don't think they loved it, but they liked it. But they thought it was too long and wordy and.
You're talking about Indiana Jones?
No, I'm talking about Mission Impossible.
Really? Too wordy. Wow. Like me, it was like wham bam, let's get to the exposition. Boom, we're done with that. Let's get on with the running, right? So that's so funny. So funny that people have such different takes. Well, that's good. I mean, that's a different because this is the younger generation and they like the science fiction, they like the fantasy. I mean, to me, this was a bit of a science fiction-y movie, but unfortunately it is torn from today's headlines, right? Like most of the, you know, the most good spy stories, you know, like James Bond or Mission Impossible, are torn from today's headlines, right? You know, or the new Jack Ryan on Prime right now. I'm watching, you know, has a lot to do with what's going on right now. So yeah, that any spy story should, you know, be cover that. And I thought, you know, Mission Impossible did a good job, but that's so interesting.
This
too
player
long,
is
Yeah.
too
too
wordy.
wordy, which is so funny. That would be one. That would be one criticism that I would not even think that they being too wordy.
I mean,
So, with that said, anything else to comment on?
no, Fanboy, no.
All right, Fanboy here in Chiang Mai, signing out. And